it's Steve from 7D Experts. I'm back with another ThoughtSpot video today, and this is the last one in the series where we're looking at Spotter, which is ThoughtSpot's AI analyst for everyone. So we've already covered what is Spotter, and we've done another video on how to actually use it, and this third one is how to train Spotter. So you might be asking yourself, well, why do I need to train the model? Does it not work straight out of the box? And the answer is yes, it does work straight away. You can connect to your data and then start straight away using Spotter to ask questions in natural language and get answers back. But the point in training the models is all around data accuracy. Spotter or any LLM can't ever really know all the full data definitions and complex logic that goes into a lot of organizations' data. So where training comes in is to go in, ask effectively some sample questions and teach Spotter what the answers should be, such as if you need to include a certain filter when you ask about revenue, it must always include filter A equals true. Then you can go in, train the model so that it knows next time a user asks about revenue, it knows to include the filter as part of the answer. So that covers a few different bases. It saves the need to train the users. It saves the need of the user to actually remember how to do it, because a lot of users may not have any access to the underlying data definitions and the complex logic that goes along with many organizations' data. So by training Spotter, it means that when a user goes along and asks the question, gets the answer right correctly. It saves an awful lot of time for both the users and the analysts as well. So that's very much why you need to train. But how do you do that? So 7D Experts have created some accelerators to aid in this process, and one of those running in the video that you can see on screen here. And these are designed to make the process of connecting to your data and actually enriching it that much easier for the user. So the first is called Build, and this is where you're connecting, in this example above, from a Snowflake data warehouse to a ThoughtSpot. And whilst doing so, it's going to use AI to enrich that data set. So it's going to add in descriptions and synonyms for the columns there, so that when you get that data landed in ThoughtSpot, it's ready to use in Spotter. If you already have your data loaded into ThoughtSpot, there is an accelerator from 7D Experts called Enrich, and that will take the existing data set, look for gaps in the data such as descriptions, and populate those using AI. And then finally there is the third accelerator called Coach, and this will go and look at your existing SQL queries that have been run against your data warehouse, so Snowflake in this example, and we'll look at the top queries that have been run by the users, and then using AI and the type of data that you have in that database, we'll review the types of business questions that could have been asked based on the queries that were run. And so this will then output a list of questions that you can take and enter into the coaching aspect of Spotter to ensure that it's going to give accurate answers and already coach the model on questions that may well be asked based on previous user query transactions from Snowflake. So if you want to find out any more about those accelerators, do reach out to one of us at 7D Experts. Be more than happy to give you a demo of one of those fantastic products. But let's carry on looking at ThoughtSpot and how we coach Spotter to make it more accurate. Back to ThoughtSpot and Spotter and how do we train it. So we go to the data workspace up here, and then we're going to go to bottom left, Spotter reference questions. You can see that here we've got Spotter reference questions and Spotter business terms. So firstly we go to Spotter reference questions, and you're given this view here. And this is where you go in and actually ask questions. And these are essentially establishing the rules that Spotter will use going forward when users ask questions. So if we just focus in on one of these, so perhaps how many jackets sold last year, we can see the question has been asked, and then we've got a few different columns. So we've got the search tokens that were resulted from that. We have the chart type, which was a KPI. We see it as global access at the moment, so everyone can use this, and it's on the worksheet of retail apparel and submitted by and edited by, etc. So if we just focus in on this one at the moment, I'll zoom in here, we'll see how many jackets were sold last year, and then we can see these are the search tokens that it's come back with. So the user asked this in plain English, how many jackets sold last year, and Spotter has broken that down into two filters. So date equals last year, and item type equals jackets, and then the measure is the sum of the quantity purchased. So that's the question that has been asked. And then if we look into the second half of this, which is the business terms section, down here, we're going to select that. You will see, if I focus in on the top 4 rows here, we've got 4 different search terms which have come back and have been saved as business terms. So we've got how many jackets sold, many jackets sold, where it's combined those two together, and sold last year. And we have, for many jackets, it's just saying the item type must be jackets. For the phrase of sold, when someone types in sold, it will do this. It will return the sum of quantity purchased. And it will combine those. When someone types in many jackets sold, it will know, if I just expand that this is the item type must equal jackets and sum of quantity purchased must be the measure. And similarly, for sold last year, these are the tokens that must be used. So it must equal last year and the measure must be quantity purchased. So what that means is going forward, every time a user types in one of these, so if someone types in sold, it will always use sum of quantity purchased as the measure it's going to use. If it was sold last year, it will combine those to say it must always be sum of quantity purchased. It will always use this date field as the filter. And where the training comes in useful is, say for example, you had 2 date fields in your data set, order date and delivery date, for example. You can establish it should always use, for this, we always want to count things based on when they were ordered, not when they were delivered. So you could go into the answer. So over here we have fixed fragment, change access, or delete. So fixed fragment is where we could go in and tweak that, the tokens used. So for example, it was using order date, but you wanted it to be delivery date. You could go in and do that. You could change access, so perhaps narrow that down to a certain user group, or delete that business term if you think that actually that's not relevant. So that's very much a whistle-stop tour of how to train Spotter. You ask a business question down here, you ensure that the tokens that it's returning are correct and they match with your logic, and then you can check these in the business terms section. So this will build up very much like a data definition that Spotter will use going forward. When a user asks a certain question, it will already know which fields it should use for the answer. So I hope that was useful. As ever, let us know if there's any other videos you'd like us to make on ThoughtSpot. If you want some more information about the accelerators from 7D experts, please get in touch and we'll be able to supply some information there. Happy to host a demo and show you the awesome capabilities of those. And we'll see you in the next one. Thanks.